Bob, we're finally here. 4 postponements, Fury Wilder 3. Is it a relief, or do you still have to be very careful this week that we do get the fight on?
You always, in this environment with COVID going around, you have to always be careful. But I'm confident now that everything is all right. And, it's not only the fight Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. This is the best undercard of any pay-per-view fight in recent memory. I mean, you've got 3 terrific heavyweight fights underneath. And
Significant ones as well, because a lot of them are rising stars, aren't they?
That's the point. So people, can see a true full evening of the sport of boxing in the heavyweight division. And I think it's going to be a treat for everyone on both sides of the Atlantic.
What did you make of Anthony Joshua's performance against Oleksandr Usyk 10 days ago?
Well, I don't look at it as Anthony Joshua's performance. I mean, I'm a very good friend, I believe, of Oleksandr Usyk because he's best friends of Vasily Lomachenko, the 2 young Ukrainians that grew up together. And I've known Alexander as long as I've known Lomachenko. And I always knew he had a tremendous ability. The reason I didn't sign him is I was programming for HBO at the time, and they didn't want anything to do with the cruiserweight division. So what was I going to do with him? But he gave Joshua a boxing lesson. And unless I'm missing something, if they fought 100 times, Usyk would beat him 99. I mean, Anthony Joshua is limited. And the reason he's limited is not because of heart, not because of any kind of thing of that sort, but he doesn't have a very good chin. And to beat somebody like Usyk, he's got to go out and attack him and throw caution to the wind. And his chin is so vulnerable that he would likely to get knocked out if he did that.
So you don't, if you were promoting him then, and he had the prospect of a rematch to win back those 3 belts and the IBO, would you have gone in a different direction, or would you still go for the rematch?
If I were promoting Anthony Joshua, I would have set to have the fighters all sit down, the 3 of them, assuming that Tyson Fury wins
against Wilder.
Against Wilder. And I would sit down with the 3 of them and have Fury fight Usyk with a contract that the winner
faces Joshua.
Would have to fight Joshua.
But
again, Eddie is not going to do that. And he calls the shots with Joshua. And so I think we would look ahead to a Joshua Usyk fight, which is sad in a way, because as I see it, it means that I don't foresee Tyson Fury fighting Joshua ever.
What, even in a diminished fight?
No, because I think Usyk beats him. And then Fury fights Usyk, and, the Joshua fight recedes into irrelevance.
But when you go back to the 70s, and Ali, Frazier, Holmes, Norton, all these, Foreman, Hawk, Norton, they all fought each other regardless of whether one had lost to the other. Have times changed in that way, do you think?
Times have changed. Because...
So it's not still a big fight if he loses to Usyk, you think?
I don't think it would be, no. I don't think it would be. Particularly if it would be a second loss to Usyk, and and looking ahead, and Fury would have beaten Usyk maybe once or twice.
Yeah, you think they might fight twice, yeah,
Well,
if it's for all the belts.
Yeah, Usyk, not that I'm his promoter, but I'm very close to Usyk's people and his manager.
Krasiuk and all those guys, yeah.
So to make an Usyk fight with Tyson Fury down the road is not a difficult thing.
How dangerous? Obviously, there have been 3 major trilogy heavyweight fights in history. Ali Frazier, obviously you're involved with some of that. Floyd Patterson, Ingemar Hansen, an amazing trilogy. And Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield.
And Ali and Norton.
And Ali and Norton. I think they're the 4, pretty much. Trilogy fights are always fascinating. Deontay Wilder seems to have got his act together. Yes, he didn't accept defeat in the second fight, and he feels that he wanted to carry on until he was stopped, or he would stop Fury. Is he still, as Tyson Fury told us on the call last week, still the most dangerous opponent out there for him?
I don't think there's any question that a guy with the punching power of Wilder is the most dangerous opponent because he can level you.
He needs 2 seconds, he told me earlier.
Exactly. But I think you have to give credit to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, I really believe, is heads and shoulders above any other heavyweight in the world.
So it's his to lose, basically.
That is correct.
Yeah.
But, when Fury puts his mind to it and trains seriously, and as he's done for this fight, I don't think anybody beats him.
Do you, did you feel at any point that there could have been a discussion with Wilder's people to get him to step aside and maybe get an opportunity to fight the winner?
Probably before the arbitrator's decision, because that was a case where we believe that we are on the right side, and the arbitrator's decision was a shot. It's like, a baseball analogy, which isn't good for a Brit. It's like when a pitcher throws a pitch, and there's balls and strike, and there's a zone where the pitch has to be in, and if it's outside of the strike zone, and the umpire calls it a strike, even though it clearly is outside, then what is it? Looking at the pitch, it's a ball. The umpire called it a strike, so it's a strike, right? That's how the rules are, So we lost that arbitration, and once we lost that arbitration, everything was just accelerated, and there was no sitting with Wilder and working out a deal. What we should have done was work out a deal before the arbitrator got a hold of the case, and we probably could have got him to do a step aside. We could have got him to do a step aside, but it was Eddie Hearn's insistent on this 2-fight nonsense that prevented it. In other words, he would have stepped aside for a fee for a deal where Fury fought Joshua and Wilder fought the winner. No question. But when he didn't want to step aside for 2 fights.
Right.
He's not doing anything illegal, and he's entitled to do it, Eddie is. But this 2-fight nonsense, I just think is no good for the sport. Let the fighters breathe. If Usyk wins, let him fight somebody else, and then he can get back to Joshua.
Final thing, before we all head off to see Tyson Fury shortly, who's here in your offices. How are sales going for this? Because obviously it's been postponed 4 times. And also, were you tempted at any point, because Joe Biden, the American president, has changed the travel restrictions to, if you're double vaccinated and you've got a negative COVID test, you can fly to America from November the 1st. Were you tempted at all to move it back?
No. If we had never moved the fight at all, I would have been tempted. But now to move it to a 3rd date is too much.
It's almost a 5th date, isn't it? Because it was July last year, then December.
Well, okay, but then COVID came. All right. So, no. The answer is no. Obviously, we tried to get him to move up. Why is he waiting till November? Why not do it?
COVID doesn't take a rest, does it?
Well, why not do it right away?
Yeah.
But again, I'm not. We have, tickets are going very, very well. Will it be a sellout? No, because remember the place is bigger than the MGM Grand.
20,000, is it?
Yeah, 20,000. So we'll have 16,000, 17,000 in there. If the Brits